Neptune's moon, Triton, orbits the planet backwards. It's the only large moon in our solar system that does this. Hi, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be looking at some interesting facts about space. I did not curate these facts, nor do I claim to be a space expert, but I do find space very interesting, being a fellow nerd such as myself. So, we can dive right into it. Mercury and Venus are the only two planets in our solar system that have no moons. In total, there are 176 confirmed moons that orbit the planets in our solar system, with some of them being bigger than Mercury itself. If a star passes too close to a black hole, it can be torn apart. For 20 years, a team of astronomers observed a star at the center of our galaxy, orbiting a black hole. The star now has got close enough to the black hole for gravitational redshift to occur, which is where the star's light loses energy as the black hole's gravity intensified. The hottest planet in our solar system is Venus. Most people think that this would be Mercury, as it is the closest planet to the Sun. However, Venus has a lot of gases in its atmosphere, which creates a greenhouse effect that causes a constant temperature of 864 degrees Fahrenheit everywhere on the planet's surface. Our solar system is 4.57 billion years old. Science estimates that in about 5 billion years, our sun will expand, becoming a red giant. In about 7.5 billion years, its expanding surface will swallow up and engulf the Earth. Enceladus, one of Saturn's smaller moons, reflects 90% of the sun's light. Because Enceladus's icy surface reflects sunlight rather than absorbing it, temperatures reach as low as negative 394 degrees Fahrenheit. The highest mountain discovered is the Olympus Mons, which is located on Mars. Its peak is 16 miles high, making it nearly 3 times higher than Mount Everest. And not only is it tall, but it's also 374,015 feet wide, in area the size of Arizona. The Whirlpool Galaxy was the first celestial object identified as being spiral. The grand spiraling arms of the Whirlpool Galaxy are made up of long lanes of stars and gas, sprinkled with lots of space dust. These arms act as star formation factories, compressing hydrogen gas and creating clusters of new stars. A light year is the distance covered by light in a single year. Light moves at the velocity of about 186,411 miles a second. The Milky Way galaxy is 105,700 light years old. Light years wide. It would take a modern spacecraft 450 million years to travel to the center of our galaxy. The sun weighs about 330,000 times more than Earth. It is about 109 times the diameter of Earth, and is so large the Earth could fit inside the sun about 1,300,000 times over. In fact, the sun is so gigantic that it contains 99.85% of all mass in our solar system. Footprints left on the moon won't disappear, as there is no wind. Because of lower gravity, a person who weighs 220 pounds on Earth would weigh only 84 pounds on Mars. There are 79 known moons orbiting Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet in our solar system with the most moons, and it also has the largest moon in our solar system. That moon is called Ganymede and is 3,270 miles in diameter, bigger than Mercury, and it is visible with just a pair of binoculars. The Martian day is 24 hours, 39 minutes, and 35 seconds long. Because Mars orbits the sun slower than Earth, there are actually 687 Martian days in a Martian year. NASA's Crater Observation and Sensing Satellite, or LCROSS, found evidence of water on the Earth's moon. While water cannot exist on the moon's surface under its current conditions, Scientists believe water, ice, could survive within the cold, permanently shadowed crates at the moon's 2 poles. The sun makes a full rotation once every 25 to 35 days. So for us on Earth, one full rotation equals one full day. However, the sun takes 25 to 35 Earth days to rotate once. Earth is the only planet not named after a god. Nobody knows how the Earth got its name. All we know is that it is derived from an amalgamation of both the Old English and Old Germanic words for ground. Due to the sun and moon's gravitational pull, we have tides. This is because the moon's tidal force causes the earth and the water on it to bulge out on the side closest to the moon. Those bulges are what cause the world's high tides. Pluto, yes, Pluto, is smaller than the United States. If you were to walk around the equator of Pluto, it would be the same distance as walking from London to Denver, plus or minus an extra 56 miles. According to mathematics, white holes are possible, although as of yet we have found none. A white hole is a hypothetical region of space-time which can't be entered from the outside, although matter and light can escape from within. Basically, it's the reverse of a black hole. There are more volcanoes on Venus than any other planet in our solar system. There are more than 1,600 major volcanoes across the surface of Venus, including a 5-mile-high volcano called Mont Mons. However, none of these volcanoes are known to be erupting at present and are probably long extinct. Uranus's blue glow is due to the gases in its atmosphere. Think about that sentence. Uranus's atmosphere is made up of hydrogen, helium, and methane. The methane in Uranus's upper atmosphere filters out all the red light from the sun, but reflects the sun's blue light back into space, giving it its blue appearance. In our solar system, there are 4 planets known as gas giants: Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. A gas giant is a large that is made up of mostly gases like hydrogen and helium, and has only a relatively small rocky core. Uranus has 27 moons that have been discovered so far. It has 5 large moons and 22 small moons. Titania is the largest of Uranus's moons and is the 8th largest moon in our solar system, with an average diameter of 980.5 miles. Because of its unique tilt, the season on Uranus is equivalent to 21 Earth years. Also, the 97.77 degrees tilt on Uranus's axis means that a day there only lasts 17 hours, 14 minutes, and 24 seconds. Neptune's moon, Triton, orbits the planet in reverse. It's the only large moon of any of the planets that does this. This is also known as a retrograde orbit, and astronomers are unsure as to why Triton orbits Neptune this way. Triton is actually getting closer to the planet it orbits. Scientists believe that when Triton eventually gets too close to Neptune, it will be torn apart by the planet's gravity and could potentially create another ring around Neptune, giving it more rings than Saturn. There are more stars in all of space than there are grains of sand on planet Earth. There are 10 times more stars in the night sky than grains of sand, with 70 sextillion stars being visible from Earth through a telescope. Neptune nearly takes 165 Earth years to make one orbit of the Sun. Pluto's largest moon, Charon or Charon, depending on your pronunciation, Charon maybe, is half the size of Pluto. The International Space Station is the largest manned object ever sent into space. At 119 yards long, the International Space Station sits roughly 250 miles above the Earth and is the third brightest object in the night sky. One day on Pluto lasts for 153.6 hours long. Equates to 6 days, 9 hours, and 36 minutes. A day on Pluto lasts so long because of its slow rotation rate. Saturn is the second largest planet in our solar system. It has a radius of 36,184 miles, 9 times that of Earth. Any free-moving liquid in outer space will form itself into a sphere. This is because of surface tension, which is an imbalance of intermolecular attractive forces. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars are known as the inner planets due to the fact they orbit closest to the Sun. We know more about Mars and our moon than we do about our oceans. We have fully mapped 100% of the surface of Mars and Earth's moon, whereas we have only been able to map roughly 5% of the ocean floor. The Black Arrow is the only British satellite to be launched using a British rocket. Black Arrow was developed during the 1960s and was used for 4 launches between 1969 and 1971. Only 5% of the universe is visible from Earth. 68% of the universe is dark energy, and 27% is dark matter. Both of these are invisible, even with a telescope, which means we are only able to see 5% of the universe. Light travels from the Sun to the Earth in less than 10 minutes. The photons emitted from the Sun's surface travel across the vacuum of space at the speed of light to reach our eyes in only 8 minutes and 20 seconds. At any given moment, there are at least 2,000 thunderstorms happening on Earth. Worldwide, there are an estimated 16 million thunderstorms every year. Roughly 100,000 of these thunderstorms happen in the U.S. alone. The Earth's rotation is slowing slightly as time goes on. This means that days were shorter in the past. This is because of the tidal effects the moon has on the Earth's rotation. If you were driving at 75 miles per hour, it would take 258 days to drive around Saturn's rings. Outer space is only 62 miles away, Although there is no official solid boundary for where space begins, the Kármán line sits at 62 miles above sea level and is conventionally used as the start of outer space in space treaties or for aerospace records keeping. The International Space Station circles Earth every 92 minutes. The speed of the ISS as it orbits Earth is roughly 17,150 miles per hour, equating to 5 miles a second. Stars twinkle because of the way light is disrupted as it passes through Earth's atmosphere. Starlight is affected by the winds in our atmosphere as it enters, as well as being affected by different areas and temperatures. We always see the same side of the moon, no matter where we stand on Earth. This is because the moon rotates on its axis at the same rate that it rotates the Earth. It's known as synchronous rotation or tidal locking. There are 3 main types of galaxies: elliptical, spiral, and irregular. The Milky Way galaxy, the one that our solar system resides in, is classified as a spiral galaxy. There are approximately 100,000 million stars in the Milky Way galaxy. Using the naked eye, you can see 3 to 7 different galaxies from Earth. I'm going to try not to botch some of these pronunciations. You can see the Andromeda Galaxy, both Magellanic Clouds, our own Milky Way galaxy, the Triangulum Galaxy, the Omega Centauri, and the Sagittarius Dwarf spheroidal galaxy. I'm hoping I got that right. In 2016, scientists detected a radio signal from a source 5 billion light years away. That means when the signal started its journey, the Earth didn't even exist. The closest galaxy to us is the Andromeda Galaxy. It's estimated at 2.5 million light years away. The first supernova observed outside of our own galaxy was in 1885. The first ever black hole photographed is 3 million times the size of Earth. captured by the Event Horizon Telescope, a network of 8 linked telescopes, and was also captured due to the algorithm of programmer Katie Bauman. The distance between the Sun and Earth is defined as an astronomical unit. An astronomical unit, or AU, equates to roughly 93 million miles, or 150 million kilometers. The second man on the moon was Buzz Aldrin. Moon was Aldrin's mother's maiden name. She was born Marion Moon and later married Edwin Eugene Aldrin. On Venus, it snows metal and rains sulfuric acid. The Mariner 10 was the first spacecraft that visited Mercury in 1974. Space is completely silent. This is because there is no air in space, and air is needed to carry sound vibration. Coca-Cola was the first commercial soft drink that was ever consumed in space. The first food ever eaten in space was applesauce, and was eaten by John Glenn in space during the Friendship 7 mission in 1962. Astronauts can grow approximately 2 inches in height when in space. This is due to the lack of gravity in space. It causes the discs between the vertebrae to expand a little. However, the extra height is lost when re-entering the Earth's atmosphere and being subjected to the Earth's gravity again. The Kuiper belt, Kuiper, Kuiper belt, is a region of the solar system beyond the orbit of Neptune. The Kuiper belt is a ring of icy bodies and is where Pluto is located. The first woman in space was a Russian called Valentina Tereshkova. She launched into both history and space during the Vostok 6 mission on June 16th, 1963. She spent almost 3 days in space and orbited the Earth 43 times in her space capsule before returning to Earth. If Saturn's rings were 3 feet long, they will be 10,000 times thinner than a razor blade. The rings around Saturn are so thin because they are made up of pieces of dusty water ice, ranging in size from dust grains to boulders. The Hubble Space Telescope is one of the most productive scientific instruments ever built. Astronomers using Hubble data have published more than 15,000 scientific papers. Those papers have been cited in other papers 738,000 times. The first artificial satellite in space was called Sputnik. Sputnik was launched by the Soviet Union into an elliptical low Earth orbit on October 4th, 1957. Exoplanets are planets that orbit around other stars. I gotta question this one. The center of the Milky Way. The center of the Milky Way smells like rum and tastes like raspberries. This was discovered by the IRAM radio telescope, IRAM, zeroed in on a gas cloud called Sagittarius B2 at the center of our galaxy. The IRAM detected a chemical called ethyl formate, which gives rum its distinct smell and raspberries their distinct flavor. Well, that's a crazy one. I never would have thought. Our moon is moving away from Earth at a rate of 1.6 inches per year. Scientists do believe that eventually the moon will move out of the field of Earth's gravity. However, this won't happen for billions of years to come. Pluto is named after the Roman god of the underworld, not the Disney dog. Spacesuit helmets have a Velcro patch to help astronauts itch. That is the Velcro patch's one and only purpose. The ISS is visible to more than 90% of the Earth's population. Saturn is the only planet that could float in water. Saturn could float in water because it is made mostly of gas. Asteroids are the byproducts of formations in the solar system more than 4 billion years ago. Astronauts cannot burp in space. This is because the lack of gravity in space means the air in the astronaut's stomach does not separate and rise up from ingested food. It sounds uncomfortable. Uranus was originally called George's star. This name was in honor of discoverer William Herschel's new patron, King George III. A sunset on Mars is blue. Mars has less than 1% of the Earth's atmosphere, so the sunsets on Mars appear as blue due to the way the blue light from the sun is captured within the atmosphere. The Earth weighs about 81 times more than the moon. The first living mammal to go into space was a dog named Laika from Russia. Laika was a stray mongrel from the streets of Moscow and was launched into space on the Soviet spacecraft Sputnik 2 on November 3rd, 1957. Sadly, Laika died 5 to 7 hours into the flight due to overheating and stress. As a dog lover, that angered me to my core. But I'm going to try to continue on. The word astronaut means star sailor in its origins. NASA stands for National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Gennady Padalka has spent more time in space than anyone else. He is a cosmonaut and has spent 879 days in space, working on both the Mir and the International Space Station. Mercury has no atmosphere, meaning no wind or weather. Instead of an atmosphere, Mercury possesses a thin exosphere made up of atoms blasted off by the surface of the solar wind in striking meteoroids. In China, the Milky Way is known as the Silver River. Red dwarf stars that are low in mass can burn continually for up to 10 trillion years. A red dwarf is a small and cool star in a later stage of its life. Scientists once believed that the same side of Mercury always faced the sun. However, in 1965, astronomers discovered that the planet rotates 3 times during every 2 orbits it makes. Jupiter's red spot is shrinking. Jupiter's red spot is a huge swirling hurricane-like storm that used to be 3 times the size of Earth. However, the storm is shrinking over time, but even as it shrinks, it gets taller. A large percentage of asteroids are pulled in by Jupiter's gravity. For this reason, Jupiter is known as the dumping grounds for our solar system. A day on Mercury is equivalent to 58 Earth days. As space has no gravity, pens will not work. Normal pens work by gravity pulling the ink towards the pen's nib. As you hold the pen in your hand, writing part facing downwards. As there's no gravity in space, the ink does not get pulled to the nib. However, special pens have been made that work in 0 gravity. On average, it takes the light only 1.3 seconds to travel from the moon to the Earth. There are 88 recognized star constellations in our night sky. The center of a comet is called a nucleus. As early as 240 BC, the Chinese began to document the appearance of Halley's Comet. In 2006, the International Astronomical Union reclassified Pluto as a dwarf planet. There are 5 dwarf planets recognized in our solar system: Ceres, Makemake, Haumea, Eris, and Pluto. Mars is the most likely planet in our solar system to be hospitable to life. In 1986, NASA found what they believe may be fossils of microscopic living organisms in a rock recovered from the surface of Mars. Halley's Comet will pass over Earth again on July 26th, 2061. There is a planet half the radius of the Earth with a surface made up of diamonds. 55 Cancri E has a mass 8 times that of Earth's, despite having half the radius, and may very well have a surface made up of graphite and diamonds. It's only 40 light years away, invisible to the naked eye under the constellation of Cancer. Last fact, and we will hit 100. Buzz Lightyear from Toy Story has actually been to outer space. Buzz Lightyear spent 15 months aboard the International Space Station and returned to Earth on September 11th, 2009. To infinity and beyond. It appears to be Buzz Lightyear action figure. Guess he doesn't really accept. So, there you have it. 100 hopefully interesting facts about space. I hope they were relaxing, interesting, and I hope you may have learned something new. I know I did. So, until we meet again, everyone, peace and live long.